ladies and gentlemen, Steve Nelson. Give him a hand. Yeah! Yeah! Yeah!
Yeah!
It's hard to follow these people. You can probably tell by looking at me that my dad's probably dead. And he is. And, to be honest with you, I swear to you, I can't tell you the year, the month, when he died. I can't remember. I know it's been at least 10 years, but I've been trying to figure it out for the last couple days while I was thinking about doing this, of when he died, but I can't tell you when he died. I know I was with him when he died. And I can tell you he was born October 9th, 1912 in Vrensted, Denmark. Came over on the boat. His name was Richard Dick Nielsen. My name is Steve Nelson. Figure that one out. He got over Ellis Island. They Americanized him. They made him into Richard Nelson. And short for Richard is Dick, so he lost his middle name. Although he told me for many, many years his family was too poor to give him a middle name. So that's the way we grew up. He was a very quiet guy. Danish guys tend to be pretty quiet guys. Danish and Irish guys, not so quiet. So the way it works out. But he was always there for me, but in his own way. Never came to a Little League game. Didn't say a lot about me. Scoffed when a bunch of guys came to the house and said, "We're going to hire your son to sing with our band." He didn't believe that could happen either. He didn't believe a lot of things, but he believed in me in his own way. And he was a really, really good guy. But when he died, when he was about to die, the 2 nights before it happened, my mom called the house. It was one of those, it's those panicky old people call you all the time when things are going wrong type of call. And my mom said, "Your dad can't find his penis." And my mind was reeling. I'm going, I've got lines. I'm thinking a lot of things I want to say. And, I just didn't know what to do because it was pretty serious stuff, I guess. I mean, my mom seemed really upset by it. Though I truly couldn't help myself to say one thing. I said, "Try holding his nose and blowing in his mouth, see if it pops out." But my mom went along with it. I'm my mother's child. I truly am my mother's child. Though I look more like my dad, thank God. But so, went to the hospital. It turns into cancer. He goes in for an operation, but the night he's going in for the operation, I shaved him. I shaved him that night, which I'd never done before. He's my dad. You don't shave your dad. And he went in the operating room and never really got out. He got out, but he was falling apart. Things were coming off on the inside, everything else. His legs weren't going to come back. Nothing was going to happen. And my mother and my sister were there, and it was just, for me, I'm the kid of the family, if you can believe that. But I'm the kid, and yet I'm the one who said, "Listen, I'm going to stay with Dad, but I'm going to do not resuscitate. We're going to do that." And I sat with my father for a few hours. They shut the machines off, and all the violence and all the pain and everything that was going on inside him kind of went away. He sort of got peaceful. I guess that's what you do when you die, right? But he got peaceful, and so I was trying to think of just trying to talk to him while he was going away, while he was dying. But all I could think to do was do what I saw in the movies always. So I went, "Dad, Dad," you did that kind of echoey thing, like, because he's fading away, so I kind of thought I'd kind of get into it with him. So I did that. And I don't know, it helped me, I guess. I don't know if it helped him. He never answered. But he finally faded away and died, and it was the best gift my father ever gave me. I mean, it made up for the Little League games he never went to because he worked and a lot of the other things that happened. But it made me think about things my father did when I was growing up. My dad ran a printing press up on Fullerton Racine on the north side, and he would drive up to work every day, and he'd come home wearing a sports shirt and a pair of khaki pants or something. But when he finally took me up there to see where he worked, he had on overalls. My dad didn't own overalls. I never saw a pair of dungarees on my father my whole life. What he would do is after work, he would go into the locker room and change out of his dungarees and his blue shirt and leave them there and only bring them home on Fridays. And I realize now it was that rolled up thing he brought home that we did in the laundry over the weekend, that his work clothes were done again. And I was so pleased knowing my dad better as he died than I did ever in his life. He was a very, very nice man, very, very quiet man. He had a stroke some years earlier, and I always said, Dad, the good news about you is nobody knows the difference. You know? So, but the best part about it was when my dear Aunt Nellie, went in the hospital, and I'm sitting with my mother, and my father had died. Thank you. Higher key. I know. So we're sitting there talking, and I never liked his father. I never liked Bumpy. He was kind of a crabby old Danish guy. And he was married to the most sainted woman in the world, my grandmother. And my mom said, well, you know, Bumpy's not really your father's father. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, well, you know, Christina worked at a big house in Denmark and for a rich family, and, you know, the son got her pregnant, and they paid Bumpy to marry her and bring her to America. So my goal in life is to go back to Denmark and find out and prove that I am a prince of Denmark.